Guys, it's Ted again. Ted Bogert with the Ted Show. Super excited. We have been trying so hard to get Spencer Elliott on the show because I love what he's going to talk about. He's got a lot of good words of wisdom. So welcome finally to the show, Spencer. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for having me. I'm glad that we were able to get on.
Yeah, thank you for being patient. We've had technology. I have personally had technology challenges all morning. I'm on a new laptop that I have no idea how to use. My son is tired of me bugging him about everything. So here we go. It's just me. So welcome to the show. Nobody knows you, at least on my show. So I would love it if you give a little origin background on you, talk about you, where you're from, and then obviously we'll get to the deep dive on the Orlando startup scene. But I think people would love to hear your journey to that.
Great, yeah. And thanks to Todd for introducing us, another UCF alum. I'm also, well, I don't know also, but I'm born and raised in Orlando, and I've been here and really passionate about the Orlando economic, initiatives that are going on, and try to support in every way I can. But went to Lake Howell High School, and then went to UCF, and ended up at UF for my master's degree. And here I am, and have been involved in startups since then, and ended up working in the corporate world for a little while there as well, and did 4 years with a large company that was later sold for $1.5 billion.
Wow.
Yeah,
What
so I've had.
what you I'm a Knight and I love the Gators, so we're in good shape there. What did you go to UCF in Florida for? What are your degrees?
So UCF, I started out with marketing, ended up with an e-marketing certificate as well. So got my bachelor's, and then went to work in the corporate environment. I ended up leaving that job to go get my master's at UF. I was very passionate about entrepreneurship, and went and got a degree in entrepreneurship, and then came back, had my daughter. So wasn't able to jump right into the startup scene. Needed to kind of build up some capital for myself, and ended up going back to that same employer for another 2 years, and built up enough, runway for myself, and was able to quit again. So I quit twice, and which is a funny story, right? And now here we are. I was able
So
to.
tell me what you quit the second time to do. What was your final, you had enough capital for?
Yeah, and so it really was ViewStub. And so the original concept for ViewStub was, wanted people to be able to attend a concert or a conference or any type of entertainment event, sporting event from their house, from their cell phone, and not being able to, or not being limited by travel, right? And not having to be restricted because they're at work and the conference is on a Monday at 3 p.m. And so giving the ability for people to watch on their own time, and really from anywhere in the world.
Where did that come from?
I was that person. I was
You were
sitting
that.
in the office, and I was saying, man, I wish I could go to, maybe it was a festival at the time, or whatever event it was. And it was a lot of entrepreneurial events as well. They were happening, 4 o'clock on a Thursday, and I was in the office. And, so I had two monitors on my desk, and I was always like live streaming something on the other monitor. People were like, what are you doing? And I just, this is something that I'm passionate about. A lot of times it was actually, back then I would live stream animals that were doing things in nature. So because it was just very passive, while I was working. So I'd see like a bear catching fish out of the water, but it was live in Alaska, right? And I just love that concept of live video. And I really actually took a piece of paper and wrote down all the things that I was passionate about, and that included, at the time it was YouTube and videos and events. And I had organized some events at UF, and I just decided, like, how can I tie all these things together? And that's when I came up with the concept, and just decided, I'm young, why not do this now? Because if not now, when? And I decided to take the plunge. And someone had told me early on, like, as an entrepreneur, if all you do is fail, you're going to end up right back where you started, right? And that really stuck with me. Is I really don't have anything to lose, right? Even if I spend 3 years at something, I'm going to gain all the knowledge and all the experience. And even if I fail, I'm going to be right back to my corporate job, which is, not a bad thing. But I just wanted to take the risk now, and while I had the ability to do so, before I kind of got too tied down to anything. So.
I love that. I think the concept of, well, I love the entrepreneurial spirit, which we'll talk more about if we talk about the startup scene. But I love the concept of ViewStub because there are so many events, so many things that I would like to attend. But when you add travel time, when you add hotel, when you add airfare, I mean, just the amount of money that's invested. Did people on the side of the organizers, did they give you a hard time at first, or did they embrace the concept?
Absolutely. And we really started out as a 360 video company. So we were just talking, and we did the 1 million cups in Orlando event for 6 or 7 months every single week. And we really learned a lot about our customer. And the one thing that we heard the most was, I don't want to cannibalize my in-person attendance, right? So they didn't want to have, people choosing to go online as opposed to coming in person. But what we've seen is that that's never the case. If you're planning to go, and if you're willing to go and you're able to go, you're going to go. And especially if you're looking for the networking concept. But there's enough people out there, they actually say it's about 75% that can't go. They have to work, they have, babysitting obligations or whatever that is. And those are the people that you want to get to your event. That's the incremental attendees, that extra revenue, that, additional profit that we were really going after. And then we started doing more hybrid events. So now we actually do in-person event ticket registration. So we have pivoted to not just 360 video, which we were doing primarily before, but now we handle all video sources, all video types, from cell phones, regular video, and including in-person ticket registration.
So cool.
So yeah, so now we're that platform that a person can come on, even a podcaster, a musician can come on, immediately create a page with us, either upload their videos or go live and start to just restrict access, right? So if you want to do a donation-based ticket, or you want to do a subscription-based ticket, or you want to charge for your ticket, we have the ability for you to do that, and it's a turnkey solution. So, take our software, put it on your own website, stream it to Facebook if you want to, stream it to YouTube, but you still have the ability to track those users, retarget those users. We have affiliate links built into our platform. So we've really tried to make it easy for anyone that's using like a Patreon or another platform to try to monetize their videos in a new way. Right, so there's no third-party advertising with us.
That's fascinating. All right, so you mentioned Patreon, and I know enough about Patreon to be dangerous, but I think a lot of people don't know. A lot of my age group wouldn't necessarily know about Patreon. But you're right. I think that the additional availability and the additional income stream for someone would be exactly what you would want. I would think that I would rather have 20 people in person and 40 people watching than just 20 people in person. I mean, why don't you want the other 40? They're going to respond to your speaker or to you, buy your merch if that's what you're into, share what's going on because they can. They can share, oh, I went to this amazing event for XYZ. I just think there's so much opportunity. You're ahead of the game too, because it's kind of like this whole Zoom thing for me. Being able to have shows and for people to have meetings and still be productive, we're utilizing the streaming side of it. But I just think it's such a great way to to capitalize and to reach more people.
That's right.
And I love it.
Zoom integration with UStub as well. We really try to be as agnostic as possible and not really get in the way of what you're currently doing. And so we want to be a bolt-on or an addition to your current marketing mix. We also do a lot of the actual promotion side for our event organizers and creators. We will naturally get you into Google and naturally organically get you posted into event calendars. And that's really part of our secret sauce.
Love it. All right. So talk about, I love your concept. I really do. I mean that. I think it's awesome. And then we'll share everything. I tagged you, but I'll just, you can give out how people can reach you at the end of the show. So talk about the Orlando startup scene. I know things have been weird with quarantine, but I have seen a tremendous amount of creativity. I don't feel like the creativity has stopped. So maybe the physical meetings and the physical discussions about those things have stopped, but not the creativity. So give us an idea of what's actually happening in the startup scene in Orlando.
Well, we've had a tremendous amount of support ongoing since we started with Starter Studio, like we were talking about before the show. That's really where we got our start. I actually was when I was working in that corporate environment, I was going over to start a studio at night and just networking and going to their events, and just really, that's where I really discovered my passion for entrepreneurship. I got connected to some other startups and ended up working for them the first time around. And then that's when I decided I wanted to get my master's. Then the second time around, when I knew more about Starter Studio, that's actually where I met my co-founder. And so there's just a lot of synergy that happens there. And they've actually invested in our company now through the seed fund. We went through the UCF I-Corps program as well. So it's another local program that's facilitated with the National Science Foundation. And that was actually a grant that helped us to start the actual programming and development of the software. And so tons of support there. And more recently, we went through a venture scale up accelerator and met Dennis Pate, and now he's part of the Orlando Seed Funders group, and they have just put in an investment with us, as well as the St. Pete Catalyst group of Seed Funders, or not St. Pete Catalyst, but Tampa side of Seed Funders, and then as well Beresford Ventures, which is another local group, has also invested with us. And so it's been really great to have the local support of the community involved in what we're doing, and really backing us, financially, and as also with mentorship. We've had a lot of guidance from all of the different mentors at Starter Studio, but more lately, you're right, they're doing a lot more of these types of meetings. And I know that, for instance, Orlando Tech and Beer, which is a huge event that everyone loves going to, is no longer able to meet in person, of course. So they're doing online panel discussions. As well, I've seen Synapse doing online panels and webinars. So I think everyone's trying to find a new way to adapt. And of course, we've seen a ton of pickup with our platform due to COVID. Everyone
Sure.
wants to find a way to stream their event, or to find a new way to monetize their audience. And as well, people are hosting free events with us too. But yeah, it's very exciting to see the way that Orlando is growing. I know that it's had its ups and downs, but I think that the way that the mayor is putting things together now, there's going to be a lot of great infrastructure moving forward. And when the economy starts to pick back up, I think that we're going to be in a perfect spot in Central Florida to really spur innovation and spur growth in a lot of different verticals, not just robotics or defense, which you mostly will see over in Research Park, but also in technology like startups like ours, and software, and software as a service. So I'm not going to say we're going to be the next Silicon Valley, because there's a lot of factors that go into that. But I
Right.
do think that we can really get more investors here to see what we're doing, and really combine efforts, not only just in Orlando, but across I-4 and Tampa, and even down into Miami, and even up in Jacksonville and Tallahassee. I think Florida has something very unique to offer. A big part of that.
So I agree. I think Florida is, well, Orlando just feels like it's a hub of creativity, and it's not just technology, like you said. There's medical. There's just so much going on here in Orlando, and we embrace it. We're very good. I feel like we're very good about trying to. And I mean, look at 1,000 Cups. Look at some of the other places where you can actually go and pitch your idea and talk about what you want to do. What have you seen since you did the filming for? Tell them a little bit about 1,000 Cups, if you don't mind. You don't have to give a big promo, but I don't know if some people will know about it. And then share with us what other things that you have seen, what other emerging startups, or at least industries, that you're seeing coming through.
Absolutely. So 1 Million Cups is hosted over at
1
Rollins.
million. I called it 1,000. I need more coffee.
That's what it's all about, right? 1 million cups of coffee. Who cares? They've definitely surpassed that number. It's sponsored by the Kauffman Foundation, and there's a branch pretty much in every major city. So there's actually a few here in Florida. We did Daytona and Ocala, and I know there's a bunch more. What they do is they meet every week, and they allow entrepreneurs like myself, I've pitched on that stage, to really vet out their ideas and get feedback from an unsolicited audience, or I should say an unfiltered audience, and to allow people to just pitch what they're doing, and tell people their passions. And even if it's just a small seed of an idea, they're able to really just start to work on it and get that notice of what they're doing. And a lot of investment comes out of those meetings as well. So they'll typically do 2 meetings on a Wednesday morning, and the concept is that everyone's doing that same thing across the country, right? And so there's the 1 million cups, right? of coffee, and there's coffee provided. And I encourage everyone to go and check it out if you have time. They also do live stream those events now on Facebook. And the verticals that I've seen even coming out of those pitches, because we were sponsoring that event for 6 or 7 months last year, and every week I would see really strong companies coming out in healthcare, like you mentioned, a lot of healthcare. But what I really was excited about was in defense and also the space coast. And so you're seeing a lot of things coming out with the different companies over there in Melbourne, and that's where I'm really excited to see where Orlando can kind of tap into that and grow in that area, because that's going to be something that is going to get national attention for sure.
I feel like I agree. I feel like we have, like, this is a great place to come and share your ideas. If it's not a million cups, correction. There's other groups, like you can go online and find groups where you can talk. And I mean, the best thing about 1 million cups and these other groups is, yes, you're going to get, as you said, unfiltered feedback, but don't you want that? Like, I would want to know what some of the loopholes are, some of the weaknesses are in my presentation. I mean, it's only going to serve to help you be better and fine tune what you've got going on. And yes, you're right. So much investment, so much funding comes out of these meetings and these groups. And these people, you have to do your research, trust me. But these groups, the legit ones, really do want to fund ideas. They're in it for funding. They're not like a bank where they're trying to figure out ways to not fund a new idea. They are definitely in it to try to grow your idea. They want to take an idea that you have, a spark, and help you realize it. And so I feel so positive about all of those groups. I think it's such a great thing for a city that's already inclusive and diverse and has so much going for it. But I love the fact that you're also involved technically as a startup, or not far off of being a startup. You are supporting the startup community, and that's also what the whole startup scene is about, I think.
Absolutely. I really think everything is cyclical. I have a ton of mentors, but I also want to mentor others that are, just maybe a little bit behind where I'm at today. And that just might be needing encouragement and needing to hear, and I know this is part of your show, but authenticity and a little bit of vulnerability. And I really go into those meetings with that. I don't want to pretend and boast that I'm something great. I want them to know this is the hard part, right? This is where I struggled, and this is how I got through it. I'm not saying that's going to be the best for you, but maybe I can, give you some encouragement there, and maybe give you a different path you hadn't thought of before. And so my daughter's slamming against the door sometimes.
It's all right. My dogs were barking earlier. It's what happens when you work from home. There's nothing to go around that. All right, where do you see the future when we all come back to whatever the new normal is? From a technology side and from your business side, where do you see us being? Are we going to just go right back to the way we were? Are we going to have like a mix of what we're doing now and the old way? How do you see it?
I think it's going to be a mix. I think that people are going to be a little bit hesitant to get back to normal right away. And I think we will see some physical distancing. I don't really like the concept of social distancing, but I think that people will still be a little bit cautious of shaking hands and things like that. But that probably won't be very long-lived. And I also think the events industry will come back at least by Q1 of 2021 in terms of in-person events. We're already seeing our customers that were doing in-person events with us, postponing instead of canceling, which is great. And awesome. We saw a lot of cancellations early on, but now we're seeing postponements, which is a good sign that they're still going to be hosting their events. And so I think things will get back to normal, and I think there will still be a virtual component that will have grown with everyone learning more about Zoom, for instance, or doing a lot of these virtual meetings. And one thing is our whole team right now is working remote, and that was a challenge for us. We were so used to meeting in person and having great synergy. We've had to onboard over 6 people in the last 30 days, but we haven't been able to actually physically meet them in person.
Wow.
So that's been hard, because normally we do the interview. We like to look at how they're going to be a good fit with our culture. So we'll go out to lunch with them and do things like that. And last night we did something for the first time ever. We had to do a virtual hangout with our entire team. And so, we didn't want to do anything work related. So we went online and we were hanging out for 2 hours, and everyone that was new got to meet everyone that was already there and see their face and be able to interact with them in a way that they aren't able to do, through Slack or by email or even on the phone, right? And so I just think that outside of this, people are going to realize that there's more to life than necessarily work as well, and that like I'm spending a lot of time at home with my family, and so my balance is now being shifted, and I'm reprioritizing things as well. And I think a lot of people have taken the time to educate themselves and
Yes.
watch more online education and just really improve themselves, whether that's with fitness and taking that extra time and not wasting it. Pre-COVID, everyone was saying, "Oh, I wish I had more time." Here's a ton of time, and people
You're
don't,
right.
and so that's
You're
interesting.
so right. I mean, I think that people are, everyone that comes on the show, I ask the same thing and you've already answered it. So I will not ask it again, but I think people are really paying attention to what is going on. Like they're more present. Why? Because they have to be more present. Yes, you could be distracted by Netflix or Hulu or some kind of show that you watch, but at some point, even that becomes taxing. And so you focus on the things that are important, and people are enjoying the time at home with their family. They're learning how to still communicate with their family that doesn't live with them. I just think it's opened up. I look at the opportunity here. I think it's opened up a whole new world for a lot of people who normally would not have taken the time or learned the technology or gotten the education. Like you said, I had a question, Spencer, from someone, and Todd Bryant did pop on the show. So hi, Todd. But the question was not from him. Artists. So if there is an artist that is already kind of streaming online, so they're streaming on Facebook, is that somebody who could reach out to you and set something up on ViewSub and begin to be showcased there?
Absolutely, and we would love to connect with you to talk about that and strategize around how we can help you. I think every creator is different, everyone is unique, every event has their own challenges, but we have a very flexible platform, and so we have set it up in a way where no matter what you're really doing, I think we have at least one solution for you out of our suite of products. And so you might not want to use all of the features of ViewSub, but there might be that one or two things that really make sense for what you're doing. And so I think it'd be worth us having a conversation for sure. Whether that be digital sponsorship, right? Because if you're doing anything on these other platforms, they don't really let you add your own sponsors, and as well, you can't really sell merchandise unless with one provider you have to choose one specific vendor. So we have no limitations like that, and so we'd love to speak with that person. And at the end, we'll give the information. But essentially, it's pretty easy. It's at ViewStub on all the social media and viewstub.com if you want to connect. So appreciate that, and I'll look for the comment as well.
Yeah, they messaged me, so I will have them reach out to you. I'm trying to keep track of that, and then the private messages that come in. This platform, I miss having it where it scrolled here while I was, and I'm sure there's got to be a platform that does that, but Zoom does not. So I can't see. So I have my phone going, which has the messages and everything. Like, it's adapting. It's what we talked about. You have to figure out how to adapt, teach an old dog new tricks, which is sort of what this whole thing has done for me. All right. Well, I usually ask at the end what you're doing to stay positive, but you already talked about that. So go ahead and share with them one last time how they can reach you, how they can get involved, how they can learn more about what you're doing, and maybe utilize you as a platform for what they're doing.
Can I do something real quick?
Yes,
okay?
please.
Come here, Noah. She's freaking out. I'll tell you how I stay positive. Come here, baby. Come here. Thank you for my hat. I want to let you see who I'm talking to. So this is
hi.
Joy.
Precious.
And so she's a ball of energy, and she keeps me going. And, her mom is home right now, so really
she's
nice.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That keeps you grounded, right?
It does, and
I love that. She's beautiful.
All day, it was very hard to spend only a couple hours a night with her.
And now you get to see her all the time.
Yeah, and it's hard to hard to work, but at the same time, I'm taking advantage of this time with you.
As you should. She knows how Dad wears that hat. All right, man, you're a joy. Thank you so much, Spencer, Elliott, Stub. You guys reach out. I have tons of artists, tons of people who I think could utilize your platform, and I hope that they reach out to you. Thanks for sharing. Bye, beautiful. We'll see you later. Bye, honey. Bye. Bye-bye. All right. Thanks, Spencer, so much. Have a good one, bud.
Feel free to email me, spencer@viewstub.com. And Ted, I did want to say, I really appreciate your optimism with everything that you have going on in your personal life.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best. And I know a few people in my family have already beat their cancer, and I know you will too. So
thank you very much. I appreciate that more than you know.
I love what you're doing, and thank you for supporting us.
Thank you. All right, man. Have a great one. Yeah, thanks again.